Welcome to the Bible Quiz and Trivia channel. Today, we're tackling the complexities of the book of 2 Samuel with 30 tough questions that delve into the life and times of King David, his trials, triumphs, and the turbulent history of Israel. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and like this video to support our content. After the quiz, share your score in the comments. We love seeing how well you do. Are you ready? Let's get started. Question 1. Who anointed David as king over Israel in 2 Samuel? A. Samuel. B. Nathan. C. Gad. D. Zadok. Answer B. Nathan. Nathan the prophet played a crucial role in David's reign, including anointing him and delivering God's covenant to him, highlighting his ongoing support and guidance in David's rule as seen in various chapters of 2 Samuel. Question 2. What was the name of the city that David captured, which then became his capital? A. Bethlehem. B. Hebron. C. Jerusalem. D. Jericho. Answer C. Jerusalem. David captured Jerusalem from the Jebusites and established it as his capital, naming it the City of David, as described in 2 Samuel 5-6-9. This city became the political and spiritual center of Israel. Question 3. Which Philistine giant did David defeat with a sling and a stone? A. Goliath. B. Ishbi-Benob. C. Saf. D. Lani. Answer A. Goliath. David famously defeated Goliath, a Philistine giant, using only a sling and a stone. This victory is detailed in 1 Samuel 17, but is pivotal to understanding David's early reputation and divine favor, which impacts his narrative in 2 Samuel. Question 4. What was the name of Saul's son, who initially ruled over Israel before David? A. Jonathan. B. Ishbosheth. C. Mephibosheth. D. Abinadab. Answer B. Ishbosheth. Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was made king of Israel by Abner, the commander of Saul's army, and he ruled over Israel for a brief period before David's kingship was solidified over all Israel as recorded in 2 Samuel 2-4. Question 5. Who was the prophet that confronted David about his sin with Bathsheba? A. Samuel. B. Nathan. C. Elijah. D. Elisha. Answer B. Nathan. Nathan the prophet confronted King David about his adultery with Bathsheba and the subsequent murder of her husband Uriah, delivering God's judgment and eliciting David's repentance in 2 Samuel 12. Question 6. What was the punishment that Nathan the prophet foretold David because of this sin with Bathsheba? A. Loss of his kingdom. B. Death of his firstborn with Bathsheba. C. 7 years of famine. D. Exile from Jerusalem. Answer B. Death of his firstborn with Bathsheba. Nathan foretold that the child born to David in Bathsheba would die as a consequence of David's sins, a prophecy that soon came to pass, adding a personal tragedy to David's familial and political troubles. 2 Samuel 12:14-18. Question 7. Who was Absalom, and what did he do to betray David? A. David's nephew who conspired against him. B. David's counselor who turned against him. C. David's son who led a rebellion. D. David's general who plotted his assassination. Answer C. David's son who led a rebellion. Absalom, David's son, notoriously betrayed his father by amassing followers and declaring himself king, leading to a bitter civil war detailed across several chapters in 2 Samuel. Question 8. What was the name of the ark that David brought to Jerusalem? A. Ark of Covenant. B. Ark of Testimony. C. Ark of God. D. All of the above. Answer D. All of the above. The Ark, referred to by several names including the Ark of the Covenant, Ark of the Testimony, and Ark of God, was brought to Jerusalem by David with great celebration, symbolizing God's presence among his people. 2 Samuel 6. Question 9. How did Michal, Saul's daughter, react to David bringing the Ark of the Covenant to Jerusalem? A. She was joyful and joined the celebration. B. She was indifferent and stayed inside. C. She despised him in her heart. D. She assisted the priests. Answer C. She despised him in her heart. Michal, Saul's daughter and David's wife, despised David when she saw him dancing before the Lord as he brought the ark into Jerusalem, which led to conflict between them, as detailed in 2 Samuel 6:16. Question 10. What covenant did God make with David as explained by Nathan? A. The covenant of peace. B. The covenant of prosperity. C. The Davidic covenant. D. The covenant of redemption. Answer C. The Davidic covenant. The Davidic covenant, delivered through Nathan, promised David and his descendants an eternal throne, a foundational prophecy for the messianic expectation in Jewish and Christian theology. 2 Samuel 7. Question 11. What was the result of David conducting a census of Israel and Judah? A. Increased taxes for the people. B. God's blessing on the nation. C. A plague that killed thousands. D. Victory in subsequent battles. Answer C. A plague that killed thousands. David's decision to conduct the census, despite divine disapproval, led to a severe plague as a punishment, which resulted in the death of thousands of Israelites. This event is documented in 2 Samuel 24, highlighting the consequences of disobedience to God. Question 12. Who was Abner, and what role did he play in David's reign? A. He was a priest who anointed David. B. He was the commander of Saul's army who later supported David. C. He was a prophet who opposed David. D. He was a rival king from the north. Answer B. He was the commander of Saul's army who later supported David. Abner, originally the commander of Saul's army, played a critical role in the early part of David's reign by supporting Ishbosheth, Saul's son. After falling out with Ishbosheth, Abner defected to David, promising to help unite Israel under his rule, as detailed in 2 Samuel 3. Question 13. Who killed Absalom, and how did David react to his death? A. Job. David mourned bitterly. B. Ittai. David was indifferent. C. Abishai. David rewarded him. D. Amaz. David was relieved. Answer A. Job. David mourned bitterly. Job killed Absalom despite David's explicit orders to spare his life. David's reaction to Absalom's death was one of deep mourning, famously lamenting, "O Absalom, my son," as recorded in 2 Samuel 18, reflecting the tragic familial conflict. Question 14. What advice did Ahithophel give to Absalom during his rebellion? A. To reconcile with David. B. To pursue David immediately and kill him. C. To declare himself king in Hebron. D. To take the Ark of the Covenant. Answer B. To pursue David immediately and kill him. Ahithophel advised Absalom to strike while David was vulnerable and disorganized by pursuing him immediately to kill him, demonstrating his strategic but ultimately ignored counsel, which led to his own demise when his advice was not followed. 2 Samuel 17. Question 15. What was the Gibeonites' revenge on Saul's house? A. They demanded land as compensation. B. They sought monetary compensation. C. They requested the execution of Saul's descendants. D. They asked for Saul's crown and scepter. Answer: C. They requested the execution of Saul's descendants. To atone for Saul's breach of covenant with the Gibeonites, they demanded the execution of 7 of Saul's male descendants, which David granted. This act is seen as a form of justice to right the wrongs of Saul against the Gibeonites, as detailed in 2 Samuel 21. Question 16. Who was Mephibosheth, and what did David do for him? A. A Philistine spy. David imprisoned him. B. Saul's grandson. David restored his lands and invited him to eat at his table. C. A priest. David appointed him to oversee the ark. D. A general. David exiled him for treason. Answer: B. Saul's grandson. David restored his lands and invited him to eat at his table. Mephibosheth, the son of Jonathan and grandson of Saul, was shown kindness by David, who restored to him all the land of Saul and allowed him to eat regularly at the king's table, fulfilling David's covenant with Jonathan. 2 Samuel 9. Question 17. What were David's instructions to Solomon concerning Job and Shimei? A. To honor them for their loyalty. B. To banish them from Israel. C. To ensure they were not punished. D. To execute them for their past misdeeds. Answer: D. To execute them for their past misdeeds. David instructed Solomon to deal wisely with Job and Shimei, essentially ensuring their execution for their past betrayals and the blood they had shed, or the curses they had uttered unjustly. 2 Samuel 2-5-9. Question 18. How did the relationship between David and Job change throughout 2 Samuel? A. They became closer over time. B. Their relationship was consistently strained. C. Job betrayed David for Absalom. D. David grew wary of Job's power and actions. Answer: D. David grew wary of Job's power and actions. Job, although loyal, often took actions that troubled David, including the murders of Abner and Absalom against David's wishes, leading to tension and David's eventual instruction to Solomon to deal with Job harshly. Question 19. Who was Ammon, and what crime did he commit? A. David's son. He stole from the treasury. B. David's counselor. He conspired against him. C. David's son. He raped his half-sister Tamar. D. David's general. He betrayed him in battle. Answer: C. David's son. He raped his half-sister Tamar. Amnon, one of David's sons, committed the heinous crime of raping his half-sister Tamar, leading to a series of tragic events within David's family, including Absalom's revenge. 2 Samuel 13. Question 20. What was the name of the fortress where David hid from Saul that is mentioned in 2 Samuel? A. Masada. B. Megiddo. C. Mahanaim. D. Zion. Answer: C. Mahanaim. Mahanaim is one of the places where David stayed during the conflicts with Saul and later during Absalom's rebellion, serving as a strategic location of refuge. 2 Samuel 17:24, 2-8. Question 21. How did David mourn the death of Saul and Jonathan? A. By fasting for 40 days. B. By writing a lamentation. C. By offering sacrifices. D. By destroying their enemies. Answer: B. By writing a lamentation. David mourned the death of Saul and Jonathan by composing a lamentation, the Song of the Bow, which he ordered to be taught to the people of Judah as a tribute to their bravery and his bond with Jonathan. 2 Samuel 1:17-27. Question 22. What was David's lament over Abner's death? A. A celebration of victory. B. An expression of personal loss. C. A curse on Job and his family. D. A call for peace among the tribes. Answer: C. A curse on Job and his family. David lamented Abner's death, whom Job killed deceitfully. David declared that the blood should rest on Job's head and cursed Job's family, distancing himself from the act and showing his displeasure with such violence. 2 Samuel 3:28-34. Question 23. How did David respond to the death of the child born to him in Bathsheba? A. He declared a national day of mourning. B. He fasted and prayed until the child's death. C. He blamed Bathsheba. D. He immediately comforted Bathsheba and conceived another child. Answer. B. He fasted and prayed until the child's death. David fasted and lay all night upon the earth, praying for the child's life. Upon the child's death, he arose, washed, anointed himself, and worshipped, then comforted Bathsheba, demonstrating his profound grief and resilience. 2 Samuel 12:15-23. Question 24. What was David's punishment for his adultery with Bathsheba and the murder of Uriah? A. Exile from Jerusalem. B. Loss of his kingship. C. The sword never departing from his house. D. A plague on Israel. Answer. C. The sword never departing from his house. Nathan the prophet declared that because of David's sins, the sword would never depart from his house, a prophecy that manifested in the subsequent violence and tragedy within his own family. 2 Samuel 12:10. Question 25. Who was Ittai the Gittite, and what was his significance in David's story? A. A Philistine mercenary who betrayed David. B. A loyal supporter during Absalom's rebellion. C. A priest who anointed Solomon. D. A spy in Saul's camp. Answer. B. A loyal supporter during Absalom's rebellion. Ittai the Gittite showed remarkable loyalty to David during Absalom's rebellion. David gave him the option to stay behind, but Ittai insisted on staying with David, showing his fidelity and support during this crisis. 2 Samuel 15:19-22. Question 26. What role did Ziba play in David's kingdom? A. He was a trusted advisor. B. He was the keeper of the king's forest. C. He was a servant of Saul who deceived David. D. He was a commander in David's army. Answer. C. He was a servant of Saul who deceived David. Ziba was a servant of Saul who misled David about Mephibosheth's loyalty during Absalom's rebellion, seeking to gain favor and property from David by presenting Mephibosheth in a false light. 2 Samuel 16-14. Question 27. What did David do to the Amalekite who claimed to have killed Saul? A. He rewarded him with gold. B. He appointed him as his bodyguard. C. He had him executed. D. He exiled him from Israel. Answer. C. He had him executed. David had the Amalekite executed for claiming to have killed Saul, seeing it as a wrongful act against the Lord's anointed. This demonstrated David's respect for Saul's position as the anointed king, despite their conflicts. 2 Samuel 1:14-16. Question 28. Who were the sons of Zeruiah, and why were they significant? A. They were David's cousins and key military leaders. B. They were priests in the temple. C. They were craftsmen who built the palace. D. They were prophets who advised David. Answer. A. They were David's cousins and key military leaders. The sons of Zeruiah, Job, Abishai, and Asahel, were David's nephews and significant military leaders in his army. Job, in particular, played a major role as the commander of David's forces, often acting independently of David's wishes. 2 Samuel 2:18, 339. Question 29. How did Solomon become king, according to David's plans detailed in 2 Samuel? A. By winning a battle against his brothers. B. Through a public election. C. As appointed by the prophet Nathan at David's behest. D. automatically as the eldest son? Answer: C. As appointed by the prophet Nathan at David's behest. David instructed the prophet Nathan and Zadok the priest to anoint Solomon as king over Israel, ensuring a peaceful transition of power despite attempts by others, like Adonijah, to claim the throne. 2 Samuel 12:24-25. Question 30. What were the key elements of David's final prayer, as recorded in 2 Samuel? A. A request for personal forgiveness and blessings for Solomon. B. Prophecies about Israel's future and a recount of his military victories. C. Praise for God's faithfulness and justice. Prayers for the prosperity of Israel. D. Instructions for the temple construction and warnings against foreign alliances. Answer: C. Praise for God's faithfulness and justice. Prayers for the prosperity of Israel. David's final prayer reflects his deep relationship with God, praising his eternal faithfulness and justice, and includes prayers for the continued prosperity and stability of Israel under Solomon's rule. 2 Samuel 23-17. This prayer encapsulates David's hopes for his legacy and the future of his kingdom.